Hey,
Hey, Zibby, how are you?
congratulations on your pub day. Yay!
Yeah, here it is. The maiden.
Yay. Oh, it's
Yeah,
always so exciting to see the actual thing when you've had like the advanced copies or the electronic to have it in your hands. How does it feel to you?
yeah, it's great. No, it's always great. It's exciting when the finished box of books arrives. It's always a nice moment. And another nice moment is doing your very first bit of media on Pub Day, which is with you.
Yay! Thank you. I'm honored, totally honored.
I'm honored.
I know I saw you had like you have a whole day of fun stuff coming up. So it's the new way of pub days these days.
I've never done it this way before. So yeah, I think there's pros and cons to both ways. But I tell you, you can get a lot. Seems like you can get a lot more done from your living room than when you hit the road.
Right? I mean, how
Yeah.
can you be in all these cities at once and all the rest? It's a million different bookstores or just everywhere.
Yeah.
Scalable pub day model. Well, I just wanted to read your bio in case there are people who don't know that much about you. So for them, I just wanted to say that as you know, but you're the author of Red Dress in Black and White, which just came out today. Also, Waiting for Eden, which is what we discussed on my podcast, which is such a beautiful book. Dark at the Crossing and Green on Blue, as well as your memoir Places and Names on War, Revolution, and Returning. Your books have been nominated for the National Book Award, the Andrew Carnegie Mellon in Fiction and Nonfiction, and the Dayton Literary Peace Prize. And you're a former White House fellow and Marine who served 5 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan, where you received the Silver Star, the Bronze Star for Valor, and the Purple Heart. And you live between New York and DC. Anyway, just wanted to make sure everybody knew all that about you because it's so impressive.
You forgot the most important part. She just came by to say hi.
Hi,
Hi.
Lee. That is the most important part to me. And Elliot's
Doesn't
dating
have a
a
napkin.
really close friend of mine. Come in, Lee, come in. Who's also an amazing novelist in her own right, who wrote 2 amazing books. Hi.
Thank you.
Happy
Okay, you
Pub
guys go.
Day.
You guys go.
Aw, it's so nice to see you. Oh my gosh. It's so nice even just to like catch a glimpse of a friend this way when
We thought we should come say
We need
hi.
to do another Zoom.
we should do another Zoom. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just these little bits are enough to like keep me going.
Me too.
So tell people who might not know a lot about this latest book of yours and what it's about and what inspired you to write it.
Yeah, well, as the title implies, Red Dress in Black and White refers to a very iconic photograph taken during the Gezi Park protests in Turkey. So the entire novel is set in Istanbul, and those protests, which were in 2013, were basically like the equivalent of the Arab Spring in Turkey. And so the book is a love story about a cast of characters who all sort of revolve around this photograph. And it all takes place over one day where an American woman who's married to a Turkish man is trying to flee the city with her son. But as we find out, there are many obstacles that are put up to her returning to the United States. And we see over the course of the novel the entire architecture of their lives, which prevents her from going home. So it's a book that takes place both in the present with her fleeing, but then also toggles between that and the past. So you sort of see a marriage that's in crisis, but it's superimposed over society that's also in crisis.
And you have some secret affairs in there. She takes up with this photographer, and also the son is adopted, which adds another layer of complication to her exit strategy.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a one part romance, one part political thriller, one part spy novel. And and ultimately too, I think it's the portrait of a marriage. And I lived in Turkey for about 3 years. So it's also sort of a pay on to Istanbul, which is a city that I love. And my hope is when you read the book that the city kind of also becomes a character in the story, because it definitely acts in the narrative and acts on all the people involved who are trying to either flee or keep one another in place.
And that's another great thing about reading a book like this right now is that you can just open it up and immediately, like I've never been to Istanbul. And next thing you know, instead of just sitting on my couch, I'm like deep in it and you're showing us around, and how nice to have a tour guide like you. So it's like the only escapist thing we can do.
I try to write the types of books that I enjoy reading, and I've always enjoyed reading those books that, either like take me to a totally new place, or if it's a place that I've been, allow me to see it in a new light, or for this moment too, allow me to learn about a place where I can really see and contextualize how what's going on in that country has real implications for the life that I'm living in this one. And I think one of the things that was very interesting, spending a lot of time in Turkey and in Istanbul, having very close relationships with Turkish friends, is there are like many political parallels and social parallels to kind of what has been going on in this country. And as a writer, sometimes it's easier to write about your own country by not writing about your own country, but by taking one step away and writing about similar themes that exist someplace else.
Maybe I'll give that a shot.
Yeah.
I'm not writing about my house. I'm writing about the drama in someone else's house just down the road.
There you go. You wouldn't be the first to do it.
I know, I mean, so I always am just so fascinated that you can kind of toggle between these two completely different parts of life. You can be a Marine and CIA and like this total kind of badass military guy, and then yet write these beautiful sentences and delicately crafted narratives. Like how, and I know that when I've interviewed you before, you said that the military part was like the outlier in your life and that the writer part is the one that's always been with you. But how do you sort of reconcile these two totally different types of life experiences?
Well, I've said it to you before, like the people who've known me the longest say, Elliot, it's actually, I thought it was strange that you wound up in the Marines for so many years, because we always thought you would kind of take more of an artistic path. But I think that's something that like all of us, like, Walt Whitman said it, right? Like we all contain multitudes. And I think all of us have different parts of our personalities that we're able to engage with at different moments. My moms don't have time to read. My mother has something she often says, which is, in life, you can do everything that you want to do. The only secret is you can't do it all at the same time. So, which I think is true. Anecdotally, I'd share with you, when I was I grew up as sort of a skateboarding, Southern California type of kid. And when I was in the Marines, I used to have this reoccurring nightmare. And in that nightmare, I would imagine that I had gone back and I was no longer the sort of like lean, short-haired Marine. And I was like this Southern California skateboard kid again. And I was like, I lost my grip. And I would wake up with that dream. And I always had it. And I stopped having that dream the second I left the Marine Corps. And now I have a dream, which is I'm back, and it's like 15 years ago, and I'm in the Marines, and I'm on some training exercise, and I'm worried I'm going to fail it, and I'm freaking out. So I feel like those dreams kind of are my subconscious telling me, you're engaging with one sort of part of yourself now, and you're engaging with another part of yourself later. But I think that's common. We do that professionally. We also do that personally. Like it's a very different thing to be a single 20-something than it is to be like a 30 or 40-year-old parent with, small kids at home, like both you and I have.
Yes.
You don't feel very glamorous when you're doing that work.
If there is a word that's the opposite of glamorous, is how I feel.
Yes.
I agree that we all contain multitudes, but I feel like your multitudes are more extreme, perhaps, than maybe some other people. I mean, but that's okay.
The last thing, Zibby, I tell you is like, most Marines elect to go into the Marines, and like we're all sort of kind of romantics at heart. So
that's awesome. Your op-ed yesterday on Memorial Day was so amazing, and you talked about how your body was sort of lent to you, like you lent it to the military, and now it's their obligation in a way to protect you as you move forward through life, and yet you feel like in a way the government is sort of letting down a lot of the vets, especially given what's happened with them during coronavirus. So I just wanted you to talk about your op-ed for a minute and what you think the solution is right now.
Sure. Well, I wanted to write that piece because I wanted to highlight how there are myriad social contracts that we have in the United States with one another, whether it's the idea that, if you go to college, you take out a student loan, but because you went to college, you'll be able to get a better job and pay off your student loan. Like that contract is not working for a lot of people right now. And as a veteran, I want to say, one of the other social contracts is if you go in the service, you many people don't think of it this way, but it's very much the case. You are lending the U.S. government your body for however long you're in the service, up to including, being killed. But if you're not, when the government gives you your body back, they take care of you at the VA with healthcare and things of that nature. And that we're seeing that social contract come under a lot of strain right now with the high number of deaths due to the coronavirus among the veteran population. So, the point of the piece was, it was Memorial Day, and I felt like, as opposed to this just being on Memorial Day, we think about veterans, it's probably a good time also to be thinking about all of those myriad social contracts that we really, this isn't the time to falter. This is the time to double down on all of those, because this is when they become the most important. So, that was sort of the thrust of the piece. And then I wrote about, I'm not that old, I'm 40, but, I am at the stage where I can like feel little things pinch a little bit more than they did when I was, 24. And I can remember that, like, yeah, that was the time I hurt my back, or the really loud thing happened by my ear. And I talk about how my ears sometimes ring a little bit now, more than others. But very sweetly, Zibby, a guy I know who's a Vietnam vet sent me an email, and he said, "Don't worry about it. It's called tendonitis. I've been dealing with it for years. You'll be fine, kid."
Yeah. Well, I do have a good ear, nose, and throat. So if you would like a referral
Maybe I'll take you up on that.
When we're back in the city, I think there's worlds to be, lots of things to be done, lots of advances for your hearing. So
yeah, I think Lee and I are both excited to go. I've never been so excited to go see my doctor and my dentist when this is all over.
Right? Yeah, I know. It's I had to do a checkup the other day for my kids. I had to put them on my desk and have them open their mouths to the camera to have the doctor look in their throat.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, I'm over it. I'm over it.
Yeah, I'm over it too.
Well, Elliot, congratulations on your pub day. Thanks for sharing it with me. Sorry, someone's asking your new book, Red Dress in Black and White. Hold it up one more time, please.
There we go. Wherever good books are sold, and do your best to support your local indie. Yes, exactly. Well, enjoy the day and have some champagne, and hope you can just celebrate the accomplishment of writing another beautiful book. It's really amazing. So yeah. Lee brought me these delicious berries. I think I'm going to start with these. Not what I had in mind, but okay, fine. Thanks so much for having me on, Zibby. All right. Have a great day. Bye, Elliot.